Okay, we're now to the next step in this process, which is going to be to cut the slot in the bottom of the two sides and the end piece to our hinge box. I've inserted the 1/2 inch router bit. I've tightened up the nuts that hold it in place. Now what I need to do is set the fence and adjust the collar, which takes the bit up and down. Right now, where it's set, much too high. I would go through this piece of wood and I wouldn't have a slot. I would have two pieces, which is not what I want. So I need to set this bit. And the way I do that, there is a buckle underneath the table. If I unbuckle it and I simply twist the router, it moves up or down. I want this set to about half the thickness of the piece that I'm going to cut, which is right about there. The reason we're cutting a slot in the sides and the ends is because this project has a really cool aspect, and that is a floating bottom. So in that slot, the bottom piece I'm going to give you has a 1/2 inch of thickness. With a little sanding after we cut the slot, it will fit perfectly, and it's just a really cool feature. Okay, before I cut my slot, I need to adjust the fence. I want this 1/2 inch block, which is in the same drawer as the router bits, to be between the bit and the fence. That way I have a little bit of material here to provide some strength and some rigidity to the sides and the ends of my piece. That way, if it's cut too thin, this just simply breaks away. Not good. Okay, so this gives me a little strength to the structure of this project. Once I set the fence that distance away, and that's about a 1/2 inch incidentally, this block of wood, I lock the fence in place. Now, all I simply need to do is plug the router back in because I unplugged it to change the bit. Of course, we do that every time. And cut that slot. Okay, to do so, I need to cut it on the inside of my rabbet joint. If you can see the rabbet joint, you're cutting on the wrong side. I'm a little nervous about this knot. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't blow out and fall apart. If it does, I'll have to cut a new side piece. I might cut a new piece, but as you can see, I have a nice straight line. Just go slow and easy. Couple hang-ups on our router table, points of transition. When I come off this fence and I go on to this fence, sometimes you have to pull back slightly. I don't know if you noticed me do that or not, to make sure that I can keep going along the fence. Sometimes we get a little hang-up on this point of transition as well. You're going to do the same thing inside of the rabbet joint on the other side piece, and you need to cut a slot on the inside of the two end pieces, which are as one still. Make sure you leave the two end pieces as one. This is your 10.5 piece, 10.5 inch piece. This is the outside. I'm going to put this face down and cut that slot. Once I have this slot cut and I have it sanded out and I know the bottom piece fits tightly in, but not too tightly to break off this bottom part that I've weakened by cutting the slot, I'm going to cut this in half exactly. Should be 5 1/4 if I've cut it 10.5 to length.